Hey everyone, welcome to the Mayor's Table. On today's episode, we're going to be talking about the Red Apple Transit with our transit administrator, Alan Black. Going to shed some light on what exactly goes on with the Red Apple Transit, how do you access it, how do you pay for it, why do we do it? Public transportation is critical for urban areas, and we service an area much broader than the city of Farmington with the Red Apple. A lot of great information. You're going to want to know about it. Stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome to the Mayor's Table. We have a great show for you today. With us for the first time, but not the last time, is our friend Alan Black. He is our transit administrator for the Red Apple Transit. We thought it'd be a great opportunity to bring Alan on and shed some light on what's going on with our public transportation system, and a lot of great information that I think our viewers and our listeners are certainly going to want to know about. So Alan, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. It's good to be here.
Well, it's you've been here for 2.5 years, and we still had not brought you on to have this kind of discussion. And there's been a lot that's been happening with Red Apple Transit, and I wanted people to have a better viewpoint on why do we have public transportation in Farmington. There's a lot of conversations over the years where, do we really need this thing, and is it serving a purpose? And by God, public transportation is a really important component.
That's right.
Of what keeps a community going. So yeah, I'm glad you're here on the show and kind of break it down for folks.
Thanks. Yeah.
So Red Apple Transit we've had in the city since 2002, which is a pretty extended history for us. I mean, you think about communities that are only 46,000 people. I don't know how rare or how prevalent it would be to see this type of robust system in communities that small.
Sure. Yeah. No, I think we did bring it on pretty early, and we have the need for these resources and this vital service.
Sure. Well, in Farmington, we all know is a hub of kind of economic activity for the Four Corners area. So the Red Apple doesn't just serve the city of Farmington itself. It extends quite a bit outside of the city. Talk about that.
Sure. So our services operate with 5 fixed routes within Farmington city limits. But we also operate routes that extend from Farmington out to Kirtland, to Aztec, to Bloomfield. And so we're kind of bringing everyone, connecting everyone to Farmington there.
Which we love.
Right.
People need to come to Farmington.
I agree.
Well, and for a lot of good reasons. We talk about public transportation and the value that it plays in people's lives who don't have vehicles. I mean, the accessibility that it provides for students to get to school, or people to get to doctor appointments, or get to their place of work.
Yeah.
These are kind of the key components to why you have public transportation. And to be able to connect, and I would like just kind of extend on kind of the partnerships that exist now, because we are a regional hub, so we are bringing people from the kind of the Tri-City area, but we also connect with other transportation groups that extend beyond that.
That's right. So, one of the most recent developments we've had with Red Apple is that we now have a stop at the Animas Valley Mall that serves as a transfer to a new Greyhound route that will take people to Durango. We'll take them to Albuquerque for a really reasonable price, and I think, and it does look like people are jumping on that for the great value that it has for the community here. But you can take a Red Apple out to the Animas Valley Mall for $1, and then you can transfer over to the Greyhound bus. You can get up to Durango for around $10. You can get down to Albuquerque for about $20. So it's a heck of a deal.
It's a heck of a deal.
Yeah, and then you can get anywhere from once you're there. These little places, Durango, Albuquerque, they have immense public transportation that gets you where you need to be.
Well, it's a really good, really glad we brought this up, because a lot of folks, and this has been over my time in service here to the community, have talked about they feel like we're isolated, we're on an island, there's not a lot of transportation options to get out of here. that Greyhound bus to me is a key, especially as many people who go up to Durango for things. I mean, I just think about you can go up there and spend the night and go have a nice time, go have some dinner, and come back. Just a short, simple ride. You don't have to drive.
Yeah.
For $10, that's not bad. But
Right.
to get to Albuquerque, and it stops in Cuba, it stops in Bernalillo, stops in Albuquerque, and it's making 2 trips a day up
Yep.
here. Is that correct?
That's right.
So you've got some variability there to when you can get on it. And we had a gentleman actually when we did the ribbon cutting who talked about the fact that he's a veteran and he needs to go to Albuquerque for services, and
Sure.
he can't drive anymore those kind of distances, and how vital this is going to be for his life.
That's awesome.
And I think the quality of life component of it, I mean, that's what public transportation is offering,
Right.
is the quality of life. But it creates its own economy. And then, of course, now what we've seen over this past year, too, is we've added air transportation out of Four Corners Regional Airport. We've got Greyhound coming to Farmington. I mean, these kind of things are positive signs for our area.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So, Alan, we've got 128 stops that extend, and that's not just in the city. That's the Tri-City area. Is that correct?
Right. Right. And those stops are serviced. The ones in Farmington are serviced on the hour, every hour.
Okay.
We run our regional routes that go out to our neighboring cities there. We run those 3 times a day. So yeah, we are providing, I think, a lot of service through town and reaching out that way.
A lot of people ask, and we mentioned this before coming on the show, kind of what are some frequently asked questions. And one of them that you brought up is why we have stops in certain places. And that's one that's been brought up to me before as well.
Okay.
Why here and why not there? And talk a little bit about kind of how those stops are determined.
Sure. So our stops take into consideration the entire network across town that we service. So I mentioned these 5 fixed routes that operate within Farmington city limits, and they are all built to intersect with one another at really crucial stops so that we can get people transferred, so we can get people from one side of the city all the way across to the other in the most efficient way that we can.
Sure.
So you can imagine then that if we changed things around on one route, it's going to affect things across the entire network. And that's something that we always have to consider when we look at where we have pockets of demand across the city. We need to serve them in the way that best fits the whole service more broadly. But also, if you see our buses stopping at one location and not another, probably there's a safety reason in there.
Right.
And a lot of things that may not be considered by those of us who operate our own vehicles on the road. So we don't make left-hand turns without a traffic signal.
Okay.
We're just not going to do it. And of course, reason being, everybody does that in their own vehicles all the time. But if you're putting it on a bus route, then you're hitting that, maybe 10 times a day after day, and you're just opening yourself up to more risk than you really want to as a transit agency. So no left-hand turns without traffic lights. We take things into account like, is there a turning lane? Can we get safely off the road? Also things like we don't want to have our passengers disembark the vehicle and then immediately have to cross a busy road.
Yeah.
So we need to make sure that our buses are headed in the right direction when we service a stop, or at least that there's good crosswalks right there available for them. A lot of really crucial considerations go into the routes, the developments of our routes, and we'll always take good feedback.
Sure.
We want to know where things change, things shift over time. Certainly Farmington has, and so it's always good information to know where there is need, where there's demand for ridership, and we do take that into consideration. But also, at the same time, we need to make sure that we're doing things responsibly, that it meets so many criteria for our stops, for the system as a whole, and for all the safety of our drivers and passengers.
That makes sense. there's a lot of considerations that go into it, and I've taken quite a few of those kind of comments and feedback over the years. Why here, why not there, and there's always a reason. There's always a reason. But we have shifted some over in the past. But typically, we want to put people in places where they're also in the center of something, right? It's the center of commerce. It's the center of business. It's school related. But I think it'd be good for people to know too. I mean, where they can get access to where all these stops are at. And I know we've got this little bad boy, which is our big map that shows all of the routes throughout the city, and we'll put this up on a digital form. But you can get this on, if you just Google Red Apple Transit Farmington, it's going to come right up, but it's on the City of Farmington's website. Is there an app that we use too?
Not an app necessarily, but you can download it straight from the website to your phone, so you can hold on to it, bring it up anytime.
It's like a PDF, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. Also, all of our drivers have them. Stop a driver, ask for a rider's guide. They will be sure you get one. A lot of the places that we service, if you see a Red Apple stop sign outside a business, you can probably go right into their front desk, ask and see if they have one of these. And I try to go around and make sure everybody's got a fresh stock of them.
Sure. Well, this one was updated July of 2025. Does this include the Greyhound on here? Did we have the Greyhound stop on here yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet, but
all right.
That's on the next print of them.
Yeah, it gives you the hours of service, holidays, fares. So $1 for one-way in town only.
Yep.
$2 for regional routes, which is going out to the Tri-Cities. Kids under 10 are free. Must be accompanied by an 18-year-old or older. You get half off fare with student ID, Medicaid, and Medicare card. Kids 11 to 17 or seniors over 65. And then we have a college pass, $45 for either the fall or spring semester, and good for in-town and out-of-town. And you obviously must show your current ID and semester schedule. So interesting. Do we also connect with Navajo Transit?
We do. Yep, we do at the West Main Walmart.
Okay.
Yep, they come out and service that as well. And so we provide a transfer there.
How frequently do they come in? And are they coming in from, is it just Shiprock, or do they service further into?
So Navajo Transit has a number of loops that they service. I think they'll get you all the way out to, I believe they have a service that takes you out to Gallup.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
They've got it going. I believe they'll come out and service that West Main Walmart twice a day.
Okay.
And they have all of their routes posted on their site as well. That's fully updated. I think they're still coming back online with their services over these last few years. But they're running. We're putting passengers on their buses.
That's good. Well, again, we are the hub. So
that's right.
We like to be the hub. Let's find ways to get people to our community so they can access all these services. As far as the fixed routes, we also have a dial-a-ride service, which we talked about this early on. So you clarified some things for me, because I thought literally I could just dial the ride and it would show up, but it's a little bit different than that. Explain what dial-a-ride is.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, no, dial-a-ride, it's a separate service from our fixed routes. In fact, it's meant for those individuals who, for any reason, are not able to access our fixed route service. So this could be for individuals with special needs, someone who has mobility issues, someone who may need a caretaker to ride with them. And we have an application that's available on the website there. If anyone's interested in our dial-a-ride service, fill out the application, send it to our main office. We'll evaluate things on an individual basis and see if they're a good fit for our dial-a-ride service, where it is a curb-to-curb service for you that you can book your trips 2 weeks in advance and get you where you need to go. But it is meant for those who, for any reason, can't access the fixed routes.
Okay. I want to shift a little bit. I want to talk about ridership, but I also want to talk about funding. And because this is always a conversation that comes up with folks, just trying to understand who's paying for this. If we're only charging $1 per ride, obviously it doesn't pay for itself. But no public transportation system does pay for itself, and that's the point of it. It's there as a service. to provide access for folks who obviously don't have a vehicle or other means of transportation. So it's pretty critical. Now, for us, the way the funding works, talk a little bit about how that funding is shared between the cities and the feds.
Sure. So we receive FTA or federal grant money that's apportioned to us through the state. So the money comes from the FTA and is allotted to the state, who then makes the determination of what we're getting each year from this, which is determined based on some factors like population size and ridership trends. And this federal funding kind of breaks down into some different categories. So there's your operational expenses, there's your planning expenses, your maintenance expenses for the fleet, as well as capital, so purchasing new buses.
Sure.
And each one breaks down into different percentages of reimbursement from these grant funds. So our operational expenses break down to a 50-50 split. And really for the rest, it's an 80-20 split between federal funds and what we have to come up with locally.
Okay.
So it is a great way to utilize those federal funds, bring them into
bring that money back, Alan.
That's right.
That's the key.
Bring it here.
Well, for the way the cities share it too. Talk a little bit about how we, because it's Farmington's, Kirtland, Bloomfield, San Juan County.
Yeah. Yep.
So talk a little bit about how we share that.
So from there, we break it into a split based on the mileage that we spend. Are these miles driven within Farmington? Are these miles driven out to Kirtland, to Bloomfield, to Aztec? And so then we allot that based on the service that we provide in those separate areas.
Sure.
We can quite easily take a look at how many miles exactly we're spending on routes that take us out to Kirtland, and that way everyone's paying for the service that they're getting.
Right.
Those citizens of Farmington are paying for the services within Farmington. Bloomfield's paying for their portion of the service, and I think it breaks down well that way.
Yeah. No, I think there's a few of those partnerships that we have here for different services that we create those formulas to kind of share that cost. But I'm interested, and I want to direct people, as we do frequently, to the city manager's page on the City of Farmington's website, where you can find the monthly report. And the monthly report provides a breakdown of all the divisions within the city and what they did that month. And my report here is a little bit old, so we're going to go off of some numbers that we talked about earlier. For the year of 2025, we had 93,500 trips.
That's right.
And that was a 10% increase over 2024.
Uh-huh.
And then the 3-year trend, what does that look like?
So if we go back 3 years and look at the total ridership there, we're looking at a 65% increase just in that short 3-year period.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
There's a lot you could take out of that. That's an interesting number, but a 65% increase for me just tells me how needed this type of operation is. For all its various purposes. But that's really incredible to have that kind of growth, and you kind of overseen that, and I imagine it's a big operation, Alan. I mean, 128 stops. How many buses are running?
So we have a fleet of 18 buses.
Okay.
And at any given time, we have about 10 vehicles on the road.
All right.
Just making stops.
And then we got to find the drivers for
That's
this,
right.
and I guess maybe even going in a little bit deeper on here. The city of Farmington kind of administers this, but we contract out the service of actually the drivers and the operations of those buses. Describe that.
Sure. So we have a contract with Capacity Builders, who has a great team out there. Shout out to the team over at Capacity Builders. They're all doing a great job for us.
I love it.
And they hire and train and provide the management for our staff of drivers over there, which, I'm over there. I'm talking to them on a daily basis. We don't share an office, but sometimes it feels that way.
Right.
But, they're great people over there.
So they hire, they train, they manage. So when it's driver issues, things of that nature, go directly to Capacity Builders. Is that
Yep.
Accurate.
Uh-huh.
And then and that's same with the dial-a-ride.
Same with the dial-a-ride. Yep.
Okay. And so that's contracted out. And when we look at kind of going forward, maybe kind of the future of transportation here in the area, outside of the Red Apple Transit, outside the dial-a-ride, are there other things that we're looking at to, make public transportation even more accessible?
Well, sure. Something that is exciting and a disruptor across many industries is AI.
Sure.
Transportation is certainly no exception to that. So I have been asked many times, are we looking at fully automated vehicles?
Yeah.
No, the answer is no to that one. We need our drivers. We need people making good split-second decisions out there. But one of the interesting developments to come out of integrating technologies, integrating AI into public transportation is a service that is kind of being coined microtransit.
Okay.
And it's something that I've been looking into, and I'm excited about, and I think may hold a lot of positives for our community in the future. But it's a service, you can think of it a lot like Uber or Lyft, but for public transportation. So it's ride sharing, but with this microtransit service, there would potentially be a Red Apple app that you could download to your phone, that you could log into, that you could build your own personal profile with.
Sure.
And you can use that to book your individual trips on Red Apple. And you can do that for immediate service, and the bus will come out to your location as quick as possible, or you can book a trip in advance, up to 2 weeks in advance. And these trips are constantly being uploaded to a route that is then on display for the driver on a tablet that he receives, and it's updated in real time with the most efficient route possible through the city. So he's cruising around picking up everyone that's booking trips, and there's a lot of cities that are kind of experimenting with this. We're watching. We're looking to see, is this sustainable?
Right.
Is this truly an efficient means of public transportation? I think it may hold some big benefits, and so it's a big consideration for us.
Working with capacity builders, obviously they also have their own separate kind of Uber-ish company.
Sure.
It used to be called Lugos, and now I think it's Yugo. Is that right?
I think it's still Lugos.
Is it still Lugos?
Mm-hmm.
So, you're competing then with the private market in that regard. And so the only reason I would see us doing it would be because there's a lack of private options available for folks, which that's what I hear. Get a lot of people be like, "Where's Uber at?" And it's like, well, they're here, but you gotta
but good luck.
Let's see what happens. Yeah. So I think we're trying to provide something, and this is a discussion that includes the state on this. They're looking at us as a potential because they recognize, as we have for a long time, that Northwest New Mexico lacks a lot of these transportation options. So trying to make sure that they're taking care of this population center, I think, is very important. But I'll be very interested in this.
Good. Yes. Yeah. Me too. And in fact, they did a study across the whole state. This is the Department of Transportation for the state of New Mexico, and they looked at every potential city that could sort of roll out a pilot program for a microtransit service. And Farmington came out number 1.
Wow.
So we are on their radar for this, and the people there with our DOT are great to work with. They've been great, and so a lot of interest in this.
Well, they've been very complimentary of you, Alan. I know when we did the Greyhound, we did the Greyhound ribbon cutting. They were very appreciative of your work and the way you're kind of bringing all these opportunities together. So thank you for what you and your staff do.
Absolutely.
Getting down to some final questions here. Is there? We've talked a little bit. You can find this on the City Manager's Report in November. Armor software and what that will bring to Red Apple. Talk a little bit about that.
Sure. So what we'd like to to do is to have all of our buses equipped to be able to access their camera feeds in real time. There's just so many benefits to this, but in this way we can make sure we're responding to any kind of safety related event. But with the Armor software, we'd be able to get that camera footage immediately, in real time, to law enforcement, to our dispatchers, our management team, anyone relevant to the situation happening there, so that we get the best response necessary for anything that may come up.
And there's a telematics component to it as well, correct?
That's right. That's right. So that we can see where our buses are at all times. We can see, things like their speeds, and of course
our
be
stops
updated to that. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which gives, for anybody who runs a fleet, having access to that kind of information to help your drivers improve, I think is really important. From an insurance side, I can tell you that we definitely look at that in the industry with a kind light, because we want to know that you're managing your people appropriately, and again, it's just a great training tool when situations arise. So I'm glad we're looking into that. That would be something I think for our 18 buses and our drivers would be very helpful. And we're hiring drivers right now. I think we're looking for 2 additional drivers. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep. At the moment, we're looking for two drivers.
Where would people apply for that at? Is that on the city's website, or is that through Capacity Builders?
It's through Capacity Builders.
Okay.
And you can also find a listing on Indeed.
Okay.
And that'll take you over to Capacity Builders' website to fill in their application. But yeah, certainly anyone interested should fill out that application, send it to us.
Well, the last part of this, I want to dispel some myths, or shed some light on myths or rumors.
Okay, great.
Alan. One of those is, that the Red Apple Transit is a transportation system for inebriates.
Oof.
That's a tough one.
Yeah,
right.
I hear that, and it just makes my skin crawl. Now that
why does it make your skin crawl, Alan?
Well, because we don't allow anyone who's been under the influence on our buses. Just period, full stop. We don't allow alcohol on our buses, any illegal substances, and our drivers are well trained when they provide service at any stop to make that judgment call to decide, if someone is fit to travel on board our buses or not. And it's a difficult call.
Yeah.
Do I provide access to a public service, or do I prevent this person for safety reasons? And they're out there making the tough calls, and they're coordinated, and they're speak to each other over the radios to make sure that our service is as safe as it can be.
Right. And I imagine when they see trouble, it's very frequent, they can call non-emergency dispatch and have access to an officer or the ARU. And maybe the ARU is one of those things that we need to discuss here, because the ARU is a separately ran operation by the Farmington Fire Department, and it is designed to go out and address individuals who are on, down subjects and those sorts of things, and give them transportation, whether it's to the sobering center or have an ambulance come if they need to take them to the hospital. But that is a completely different service, and that is designed for those emergency situations.
And funnily enough, I think a lot of our buses, when we're done using them, they've spent out their useful life with Red Apple. Those buses go to the ARU to be fully utilized by the individuals there. So
outfitted
I think
and everything.
That could be where people are having a bit of a mix-up there when they see those buses, because they sure look an awful lot like a Red Apple that's been painted over.
What do they call them? Are they cutter buses? Is that what we call them?
Cutaways.
Cutaways? Yeah. But it is a different situation, so I'm glad we kind of got to talk about that.
Yeah.
What are some other myths, rumors, things that come to your attention? Frequently asked questions. We talked about the stops and where the stops are at. I was trying to think if there's any other ones.
I think public transportation gets an awfully tough rap. When you're watching any movies and whatnot, it's often the scene of criminal activity, of even violence, and these are dark and shady places. But I really feel, and I want people to know that our buses are safe. That you come on board a Red Apple and you've got a driver who's well aware of their circumstances, and I stand behind our drivers. They're doing a great job out there making tough calls, and truly the incidents that do occur are so few and far between.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's no different than being in any other public space. But truly, when you think about public transportation, it gets a bad rap because so much of our media portrays it that way in movies and fiction and other things, because it makes for a good show, makes for a good story.
Sure.
But it can make things difficult for people who are looking at utilizing public transportation and trying to make that call for themselves. So come on board.
Come on board. Well, I'm glad you made those comments, Alan, because I think safety is one thing that a lot of people are concerned with.
Absolutely.
If you've ridden public transportation in bigger cities, if you've ridden the subways in New York, which I've been able to do this past year for the first time, and there's nobody.
And you survived.
There's nobody gauging whether or not somebody's intoxicated or on some other substance, getting on that that enclosed underground train with you. So it's good to know that we've got some of those guidelines in place. That there is there's a qualification to step onto this bus and sit with other people, and safety is our number one concern. And if somebody is deemed not safe and unable to take care of themselves, and that's not an individual that we want to have on the bus with a bunch of other people.
Exactly.
Yeah. Alan, can I take my dog on the bus?
Does that dog perform a service for you?
My dog loves me, Alan, and I love my dog.
Oh, I feel that, but now I think he's going to have to find another way to get there. But however, if there is anyone with that same question that is in need of a service animal, if that animal provides a function, if that animal can be contained, if it's on leash, if it's in a kennel, bring it on board. Not a problem.
Good. I wanted to clarify that.
Yeah.
What was the other one I just had? Lots of questions, Alan.
Sure.
Making sure that we're vetting all of these out. That may be it. Well, I don't know. Any final words? Any final thoughts?
Just that it's a great privilege to be out there servicing the community. This is where I grew up. I love Farmington, and our area here. It's just very rewarding to be out there providing such a vital service to the community.
I agree with you. It's a very humbling experience, and it is a privilege to serve and to be in this role and to be able to kind of provide your insight, knowledge, and know-how to make the quality of life here better in Farmington. So we thank you, Alan, for what you do, and your drivers and staff, and keep up the good work. And we'll continue to challenge the process to improve our transportation options. But for everybody who's out there watching this today, you can get these guides from any of the Red Apple Transit buses. You can get them at the offices, but you can also find them online at the City of Farmington's website under Red Apple Transits. Great place to learn more about what we're doing here in public transportation, and just want to thank our guest Alan Black again for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. All right. Well, that's the end of the show, so we'll see you here next time on the Mayor's Table.